Hello everyone, this is the OG Gigi here. Whether you know me as GrenGoddess or GamerGoddess, I am always Gigi. And today got a special video, serious video, about how electronic arts pretty much ruined my life and ending up costing me and my family over $500,000 in 10 years. Most people just pretty much disregard me as, oh, you're just a disgruntled Maxis fan. You just, hate what EA did to Maxis and you just always mad at them. Like, actually, in addition to that, Electronic Arts uh, actually attacked my family and their decisions, ending up costing us over $500,000, and it actually had very personal, severe negative effects on my life and the life of my family. In order to understand all this, I need to start from the beginning. So, how did Electronic Arts ruin my life? And so we have to go all the way back to 2011 with Popcap games, not Maxis, Popcap games. So, as you can see, unfortunately, Popcap is now part of EA, but that wasn't always the case. So, check on Wikipedia, fabulous place. It was an American video game developer based in Seattle until Electronic Arts acquired them, like usual. They developed several games, and including Bejeweled, Peggle, Zuma, Plants versus Zombies, and they don't have it here, but Chuzzle too. So their games were just so awesome and addictive. And they were independent until they were acquired by Electronic Arts in July 12th, 2011. So how could this possibly have any influence on my life, right? Like, Popcap, what? So, what you need to know is that I am actually a professional Bejeweled 2 player. That's right. And not just a professional Bejeweled 2 player, but I am in the top 5 Bejeweled 2 players in the world. And I am not exaggerating this at all. It's called Skillgaming, and what it does, it's daily video game tournaments in games like Bejeweled, Zuma, Plants vs. Zombies, Solitaire, in, global daily matches for money. And being one of the top 5 Bejeweled 2 players in the world, that's why most people know me as GamerGoddess. That was my tag in the tournaments. Bejeweled is very, very important to me and the income I was able to make. So, yes, not exaggerating. If you actually look at my YouTube page and go back to my oldest videos, I've been on YouTube for 18 years now. You can see my first video, Gren Dedication, again, why my username. But look, King Chuzzle, How To, and GamerGoddess, me playing Bejeweled 2, me playing Bejeweled 2, me playing Bejeweled 2. So why not just Chisel, but King Chisel? Well, the website that hosted the absolute best Bejeweled 2 and Chisel progressive tournaments was King.com. That's right. This was the place to go for daily progressive video game tournaments for Bejeweled and Chisel and a whole bunch of other games. Now, there's another website called World Winner, which I'm still on. They still have Bejeweled as part of it, but World Winner is not as fair as King.com is. World Winner, you put in your entry fee, and you play against, everybody within your ranking, and you get a score and you see where it ends up on the scoreboard, just like any Skillgaming website. But what World Winner does that's less fair is that you can re-enter the tournament and it will give you an entirely different set of cards or a layout of gems than your first entry. And that second entry may have a better scoring potential than your first entry. So how is any player to know that the fourth entry into the tournament has the best scoring potential unless everybody does that? So that's why World Winner tournaments, they're still here, but they're really not as good and not as fair as King.com's was. And what I did on King.com and being a professional Bejeweled 2 player is that I would put in my entry fee. They had an entry limit. So for progressives, you can only enter 10 times. And you could see, I'm just going to show you one of my old videos here, me playing hyper mode Bejeweled, so you can actually see I'm not exaggerating about being the top 5 in the world for Bejeweled 2. So this is me 16 years ago playing Bejeweled. Just how I normally play, And so since I was just good at the regular game, just came so naturally to me, I decided, why not try the cash Bejeweled tournaments? Maybe I would be good at it. You can see here, somebody actually referring to me as the OG Boo Piper, who is definitely the top Bejeweled 2 player in the world. Maybe I'm number 2 or number 3, but still, top 5 Bejeweled 2 player globally. And I mentioned this before, but in my community, when I explained, how and why I am the OG Gigi, here we go. Why I am the OG Gigi part 1, you can see some of me, my pictures of winning Bejeweled 2 tournaments, a $3,000 Bejeweled 2 tournament. This was on World Winner, actually. So I won $500, yes, 500 actual dollars that I could withdraw to my PayPal account and bank account from the Skillgaming site. But here is where I mentioned Electronic Arts and what they did. So you can see here in this first tournament, progressive tournament on King.com for Bejeweled 2, it's an entry fee of 60 cents. And you could play up to 10 times in the progressive, so you can spend a maximum of $6. It's daily, so every 24 hours, this tournament was available. If I didn't do well one day, I could try again the next day and try and make up for any losses that I had. 3,735 entries were put in. I, GrenGoddess, came in first and got $198 back from a maximum of $6 entry fee. That's $192 profit daily if I made, first place every day in these tournaments. And I was already in the high ranks, but because Bejeweled 2 was so great, and so popular that even though I was in the high ranks, the Bejeweled 2 is so popular, many people were in the high ranks. So there were always still a lot of people playing in the progressives all the time. So I could keep making every day, Even look, number 7. Look, it's got $40 back. That's still higher. So even just ending up in the top 10, top 25 of these daily progressive tournaments ends up giving you a lot of money. This is called Skillgaming, and I started this in 2006. And as you can see here, November 22nd, 2010 was when this tournament happened. And as you can see, Candy Crush, which was actually invented by King.com. That's right. They invented Candy Crush, and us skill gamers were the only ones who had access to Candy Crush, because Candy Crush was originally a cash-only game. Now, why would King.com even bother creating Candy Crush if they had all of these Bejeweled tournaments? Well, we go back to EA acquiring Popcap games. Now, you can see on my Facebook account all of my skill gaming wins here. So just on November 25th, 2010, I ended up in first place, got 200 this time for, again, a maximum $6 entry fee tournament, 10 60-cent entries possible. And this was the one I showed from before. And look, 12th place even pays out $24. That's 4 times what you could maximally put in. I mean, I was seriously cranking out the money with my Bejeweled 2 winnings every day. And since 2006 to pretty much 2011, well, actually 2010, I was making easily $60,000 to $100,000 a year from my Bejeweled 2 daily tournament progressive winnings on King.com. Seriously, not exaggerating. You can see some of the pictures I've taken. And my Skill Gaming Wins album is public on Facebook. So if you want to look this up on Facebook, it's there. Skill Gaming Wins. Yeah. And even the regular tournaments where you just have one entry fee only and you play against 3 other players, I won 4, 5, 6 out of 8 of them in a day. So I was cranking it. And these dates matter here. So November 22nd, 2010, Bejeweled progressives every day, fine. November 25th, 2010, Bejeweled 2 progressives, fine. But here, with the creation of Candy Crush by King.com, was March 2011, Why did King create Candy Crush? Well, between November 2010 and March 2011, Electronic Arts, even though it was before they officially acquired Popcap, was messing around with Popcap. They decided to just get rid of all the Bejeweled 2 tournaments on King.com. Just completely eliminate them. Now, I was shocked, like, no. This is my moneymaker here, okay? I'm making $60,000 to $100,000 a year from my Bejeweled 2 winnings alone. You can't do this to me. And because of these winnings, I was one of the very few people. I'm an elder millennial. I just turned 40 this year. Very few people able to pay off all of my student loans. I have a bachelor's degree in marketing, a master's degree in clinical psychology, and I was actually able to pay it off because of my Bejeweled 2 winnings every year since 2006. And my family was struggling. For some reason, I don't know why, but conservatives and capitalists just love attacking Black families specifically. So this was a great way to have extra income so that I could help out my family. It was so important. And my family kind of felt uncomfortable and embarrassed by having their, 27-year-old, daughter, niece, grandchild, sending them money to help them pay their rent and food and emergency healthcare bills. So what I would do, I would take my money from my Bejeweled 2 winnings and send it to my mom. And my mom would give them the money saying, here, this is to help out with the rent or with, your health care or food or car payments, whatever, for the month. And my family felt much more comfortable receiving that money from my mom than me. But it was really my money. And so I was put in a very unique position to actually help out my family, my community. I would donate to United Nations and other nonprofits and stuff to try to help people in need. I made I made videos on my GrenGoddess account showing people how I made my money, so that other people could possibly make money too, and teach them how to play Bejeweled 2 professionally so that they can make money from Bejeweled 2 also. So I really do downplay it here, but I say it, unfortunately, shortly after November 2010, Electronic Arts decided to ruin my life by destroying Popcap, which got Bejeweled 2 taken off most Skillgaming sites. My box took a huge hit, like massive. So going from making $60,000 to $100,000 a year from my Bejeweled 2 tournament winnings went down to a good $30,000 to $50,000 a year. Yeah, massive loss in annual income. And so, because it was taken down off of the King.com's website, King.com themselves decided to create their own version of Bejeweled 2, which ended up being Candy Crush. That's right. The game that only us skill gamers, us cash gamers, had access to. Because Candy Crush was originally only a cash game. Nobody else had access to it. And so, as good as I was at Bejeweled 2, I was not as good at Candy Crush. Bejeweled 2, easily top 5 globally. Candy Crush, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't see 3 to 6 moves ahead like I did with Bejeweled, because it was harder for me to see moves looking at candies versus seeing moves looking at gems. So I tried to learn the new game. I did okay. This, you can see my ranking here. It's 4,000. So in the low ranks for Candy Crush, I could do well. But compared to Bejeweled 2, where my ranking was pretty much maximum ranking, and so no matter how many tournaments I won, I've already had reached the maximum rank. And so I could just keep making money over and over every day from Bejeweled 2. But Candy Crush, the second I won this tournament, my rank shot up. I was put in no man's land for a long time where nobody else had my rank, and waiting for people to have my rank. They were way better at the game than I was. So that's a huge, at least $30,000 to $50,000 loss per year since January 2011 of my profits, because Electronic Arts, in their plans to acquire Popcap Games, which eventually ended up going through in July 2011, they had messed with and tampered with Popcap Games on all platforms, several months earlier than that. And one of those was King.com, taking away all of the Bejeweled 2 cash games, and Chuzzle, and Plants vs. Zombies. Just gone. Now, I was just shocked. I was like, Bubba, what? You can't tell me that Bejeweled 2 is gone? What the fuck? And so I lost $50,000 a year of possible income because of what EA did. And I was that cushion for my family, for my mom, for my aunts and uncles, grandparents, who, Black families just trying to survive. And it was a great, huge extra boost of income to help us not only survive, but really be comfortable without financial worries for rent, for health care, for food, for car payments, for whatever. I could just send my Bejeweled winnings to my mom. Mom sends it to the rest of the family for whatever they needed. And it was great. Up until 2011, when Electronic Arts destroyed that. At first, I didn't even realize that it was EA that did that to me. I was like, why? What happened to Popcap? What happened to them? Why don't you offer Popcap games on your website, on your tournaments anymore? Why? Why don't you? And they just said Popcap is just going through some things right now, January 2011. And, the executive order was decided to remove all Popcap games from our platform. So they're no longer offered. And of course, King is great. They have plenty of games, not only just Candy Crush, which they created, but tons of other games that they made. And so I would try those tournaments out, but no matter what, I was never as good as any of their newest games that I was at Bejeweled 2. And I really, really tried to learn and be a master of each and every single one of these games in the tournaments. But maybe I was the top 50 for those games. But being in the top 5 globally for a game is a huge moneymaker. So it's just very, very painful. So yes, I tried to make more money after all the Bejeweled 2 tournaments were gone. I really did. There were other games, like here's the Bubble Witch. When it first premiered, you can see my ranking is just 2,000. So when it first premiered, when games first premiered, I could figure it out faster than most people. But after I won that first tournament, whoop, my rank would go up to maximum, and there would be no one to play against for months, which means no daily tournaments in my ranking, or at the very least, there were tournaments, but they would never go up this high because there aren't a lot of people playing to boost the progressive pool. So I tried other games, Flash Diamond, also Bonk Bonk, which is another match 3 game, and Pepper Panic 2, but Crescendo Catcher I was pretty good at. But there weren't a lot of people playing. It wasn't as popular as Bejeweled 2, so no, nothing. And we really calculate this like $30,000 to $50,000 loss since January 2011. January 2011. Now we're in what? October 2024? That's 13 years times 30,000, which means a minimum of $390,000 loss compared to $50,000 a year loss times 13, which would be a $650,000 loss of income over 13 years because of what Electronic Arts did to me and my family and pretty much everybody else. But this was clearly, it was specifically me because, again, being the top 5, not top 5 player globally for Bejeweled 2, this especially hit me hard compared to everybody else in the world. And so Electronic Arts just discovers new ways to just ruin people's lives endlessly, from all the people that they lay off, all of the beautiful, wonderful game development companies that they destroy, and all the customers that they microtransaction to death, and me and my family, which they destroyed $30,000 to $50,000 of income a year, just so they could acquire Popcap. Like, that's so important. And so for years, 10 years, those 10 years were impossible without that extra cushion of income. We really, really struggled. Because again, things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. People of my generation, we are the most educated, we have the most degrees, yet for some reason, we don't have the best jobs. You think we would. Nope. Conservatives and capitalists made sure that our generation could just not make any money at all, despite our experience and knowledge, expertise, and education in our fields. So we had to adapt. And instead of relying on I couldn't rely on my master's degree in clinical psychology or bachelor's degrees in marketing for a job. So I had to figure out another way to make money legitimately and, well, good enough to support me and my family. And Skillgaming was it. Master of Skillgaming, the daily video game cash tournaments. Easily. And so that's what happened. That's my story. So for all y'all in the EA Creator Network, please quit. Do whatever you need to do to quit. EA will ruin your life, regardless. You think, oh, having early access is such a great thing, or, ooh, look at what I get. Nope. It's just part of the scam to eventually ruin your brand. Ruin your life. I see the signs. I try to warn my fellow simmers and anybody who tries to involve themselves with electronic arts that no matter what they promise, it's not good. It's entrapment. Please get out. Please get out. Struggle. Couldn't afford to pay health bills. Family struggling to pay rent, food. Have healthcare emergencies that we couldn't afford to pay for anymore because my Bejeweled winnings were gone. And the other games that I tried to master weren't enough to compensate for the loss. All because of electronic arts. So, yeah, and it didn't get better. I mean, World Winner still has Bejeweled. But like I said, their tournaments aren't as fair. They change up the board all the time, so it's not the same board every time, which is so unfair for players. So, but I do make a little bit, not as much. As you can see, I'm in the top ranks for Bejeweled here, and I've had a lot of potential tournaments deleted because I'm in the high ranks, which is also quite horrible. But you can see the entry fees and the prize pool for the tournaments. There are 7 positions. For this one, you have to come in either in first or second to get your money back or make a profit. And they do have daily tournaments like this where, they pay out to like the top 50. But see what 50th place is? 5 cents. And the entry fee every time, $1. So really, in order to make a profit, you have to be in 15th place. And that profit is just $1. Even if people put in more than 140 entries, this is not a progressive. This is just capped winnings, regardless of how many people play the tournament and put in entries. Unlike King.com, which all their tournaments, their big tournaments, were progressive. So it would actually boost the prize pool every time you would put in an entry fee. It would go up. King would do that. World Winner doesn't. So I'm stuck with a less fair, less very limited games and options website, but at least it's something. So anyway, that's all there is to it. Have a fabulous day. And yeah, Electronic Arts, they owe me and my family so much. Not just the missing $500,000, but also all of the pain and suffering caused because of the loss, not being able to pay for health care, rent, food, car payments, and any other emergency payments that would come up between 2011 to now because of what EA did to Popcap. They owe me so much more than 500,000 at this point. I mean, maybe they could slightly make up for it by firing Andrew Wilson and having me instead as the CEO with all his paychecks and stock options and being a board of directors. Maybe that could solve the problem of what EA did to me and my family and in my life. Maybe, but that's a good place to start, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Anyway, take care, everybody. So.